Hyundai and Kia are part of the same company, and between them they make 17 SUVs, crossovers, a pickup truck, and a minivan. Now, right now, I got two of them, Santa Fe and the Sorento. For 2022, they're now available as plug-in hybrids. They're both compact size, and they got turbo engines. Now, of course, I'm not driving the base models. They start under 30, but these ones are more than 40 apiece. That's because they have all the content you'll find in a luxury SUV for a whole lot less. You want a whole lot more? Subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel because you can find me and a whole bunch of other professional car reviewers right here every week. Hyundai and Kia don't want you to think they're competing, but they are. And mainly it comes down to two things, a third row of seats and style. Based on looks, I'm choosing the Santa Fe, outside and inside. I like the Santa Fe's streamlined look. Everything looks a little bit more slippery than the Sorento. It has that kind of nice flow to it. A little bit more upscale vibe to me. And that face, very recognizable. The big grille and these really, really thin DRLs. Remember when the Jeep Cherokee came out a few years ago? Well, back in 2014, we all thought it was crazy that the headlights were down here in the middle, and up here, these squinty things, they were actually not the headlights. Well, now that's more normalized now. Hyundai and Kia have been doing that with a lot of vehicles. Now this looks cool. It's not as crazy as it was. This one here is the Limited. It's the second from the top trim. That would be the Calligraphy on 20-inch wheels. This has the 19s, but basically every Santa Fe except one model that blacks out the trim, it all looks the same, which is good. The Sorento is more classic SUV. You get that more boxy shape, the more chiseled lines. The headlights are where you expect them to be. It's not boring, but it just is more square. I like that too. This is the X line. It suggests that you're going to go off-road because the ground clearance is higher, 8.2 inches, which is actually the same as the Santa Fe, and they've got a little colored underbody lip spoiler to kind of give you that metal skid plate effect. You're not going to go off-road with this thing at all because this is the top luxury trim. It's the SX Prestige. Look at these wheels. Not going off-road at all, but at least it looks the part. While we're talking inches, between these two cars, the Sorento has the longer wheelbase. Between the wheels, 2 more inches versus the Santa Fe, and overall the body is just over a ½ inch longer. They're both identical width and about the same height. So between that, how does Kia manage to fit a third row and Hyundai doesn't? Well, Kia doesn't. They advertise the Sorento as having a 5+2 seating arrangement, so it's not actually a true 7-passenger SUV like the larger Telluride. These are jump seats, look at it like that. However, you got 4 seats right here that are captain's chairs, second row. That makes a really nice experience riding in this vehicle versus the Hyundai. Can't get that as an option. So 4 adults can ride here super nicely. But back here, you're gonna have either 2 tiny kids or a medium-sized houseplant. Take your pick. Basically, interior volume is about the same, and so is cargo space. When this is folded, 38 cubic feet behind the second row, 36 over here, 75 when everything's folded, 72 over here. Now, if you get the hybrids and the plug-in hybrids, that cargo space does drop a little bit. It changes, so check the specs. The batteries do eat up space. First thing I really don't like is the turn signals on the Hyundai are down here. When you're on the road, you're focused on these lights. They're not only pretty, but functional. When you're doing turn signals down here, I'm not looking for that. I don't know why Hyundai and some Kia models actually do that. That really bothers me. But both of these vehicles, they're decent looking. I kind of like this light treatment here. It reminds me of some like early 2000s Ford Mustang. There's some disagreements here on the set, but that's how it is to me. But overall, yes, they're distinctive. They are good looking. Tell us what you think, because I'm at a loss for words now. These are both nice interiors, as they should be. They're the top trims. So we've got quilted leather, contrast stitching, digital dashes, big screens, big pano roofs, heated rear seats, ventilated front seats, all the plush and pretty stuff. The Kia makes airflow into modern art. You gotta check out these Salvador Dali vents here. Tripping me out right now, especially these separate little, what are they, knee vents? Do your knees get hot? Mine don't. The textures and stitching are eye-catching and they feel good. Even the fake wood looks convincing. But fake is fake. I'd rather this be a vinyl or a fabric. The whole interior is just not quite as uniform and attractive to me as the 2023 Sportage or the Telluride, which costs the same as this Sorento and it's a heck of a lot roomier inside. Back seat is the place to be with these 2 captain's chairs. You recline, it's more room than an airline. And I got heated seats, I got USB ports in the front seats, all this gorgeous glass roof. I don't feel like driving. The Hyundai has a more traditional layout and one that I think will age better. The driver and passenger, they're in their own pods. These U-shaped trim from the doors to the dash to the screen to the instrument panel. I like that. It kind of makes you all cozy. To me, this is just more refined and elegant. Even the headliner and the sun visors, it kind of looks like denim. Feels like it too. I like all the textures in here. And bear in mind, you can get a nice brown and a full tan interior like that Kia if you order the calligraphy. I've been in that car. But even though this is all black, it still looks nice. The back seat gives up comfort to the Sorento for sure. It's still roomy, just not as special. Both these cars have the best screens you can buy. 12 inches for the instrument panel, 10 for the infotainment. They animate, they're fast, they're slick. And they both use icons that all look the same and are a little too small to pick apart. Hyundai must have been thinking inside the box because they have a dash layout called Cube. What this accomplishes, I'm at a loss for words, but the same graphics appear on the infotainment all the time. The fun part of a digital dash, all the animations and different graphics you can get. Change the driving modes, things change, different colors. What's especially helpful though is visualizing the highway driving assist. So when you push the button, you can see if you're in the lane, if there's another car following ahead, you just can see everything you need. And this feature really does work really well. It's not available on the lower trims, and neither is this. Right signal, left signal. It uses the mirror cameras to see the car in your blind spot, and it's so helpful. I wish more cars did this. When you find the app you're looking for, one of them is Passenger Talk. It amplifies my voice in the front so the rear passengers can hear it better, but Santa Fe is small, so kind of useless. What also is useless but is fun are these vacuum-looking tubes here. Old radio receivers used to have that. It's actually visually really easy to see the radio, so I actually like that a lot. Now, if you don't want to use the radio, I still like that because I'm an old timer. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, that's all available, but not on this 10-inch screen. You actually have to go to the base 8-inch screen to get it. This is wired, so that's a weird disconnect, literally a disconnect. But who cares about wireless Apple CarPlay? I have wireless parking, remote smart park assist. Shown you that before. I don't really know what the point is other than it just drives by itself for no reason at all, but it's cool. Kia has the same interface, it just has a slightly different skin on it, right? The graphics are still here. The infotainment icons are actually easier to read, but they still suffer from legibility. You just see how there's so many of them. They look very similar, and I swear, not just my aging eyes here, but there's some really cool stuff. Same as before with the Hyundai. You get these vacuum tube effects with the radio. Again, is that necessary? No, but it's fun. It's actually easy to see. That's probably the best part of this whole interface. And again, there's wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on this car, but since I don't have the wire in right now, well, you can't see it on this 10-inch screen. It's only available on those 8-inch, just like the Hyundai. Plus, there's no remote parking. In the Sorento, you'll notice it works the same way as the Santa Fe. When you change the driving modes, you get all these fun graphics and animations. It's fun, I like the way that looks. There's really no reason at all. This looks like an old alarm clock if you look at the type on here. But what's really interesting is the visualization of the highway driving assist. That really helps because you see if you're in the lane, you see another car coming up ahead, and this system works really well. But again, you cannot get this on lower tier trims. What's also incredible with this dash, left turn, right turn. You see the blind spot in your cameras right here. You don't have to look around. It's so easy to use, and I wish other manufacturers other than Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis would do this. One more weird omission, you can't use this app if you're in the state of Massachusetts. That's the Kia Access app that lets you do remote start, remote climate, all those other nice smartphone features. That's because the Massachusetts legislature is fighting with the automakers over right to repair bill. You may be familiar with that. So even though this only affects Massachusetts residents right now, it could be spreading all over the country into other automakers. So just keep aware of that because this is a big issue coming up. Before I go drive, let's clear up all the engines because there's 3 of them with 3 separate transmissions and 4 total powertrains. So here we go. 2.5 liter 4 is the base engine that comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Or there's a 2.5 liter turbo with an 8-speed dual clutch automatic. That's what this Kia has. Or you get a 1.6 liter turbo 4 with the electric motor on the hybrid. That's what this Santa Fe is. And it's the same configuration you'll find on the plug-in hybrid versions of both these cars. They come with 6-speed automatic transmissions. Front-wheel drive is standard on both of them, except on the Santa Fe hybrid, where all-wheel drive is standard. So, we cleared that up, let's go drive. All right, first off, I've driven the Santa Fe with the 2.5 turbo, same as the Kias, so I know how good it is. And this hybrid is not good. So I want to say that right now, Hyundai, you gotta retune this software. I know this is a hybrid, but there's such a big dead zone between when you tap the throttle pedal and actually feel a response from the engine. In some cases, it's been like a second or more. I swear to God, it's been like actually stressing me out trying to pull out in traffic, put my foot down, and nothing happens. Now that's nice if you want to save fuel, but I'm not trying to go fast. I just want to be able to accelerate with traffic. So that's a software tune. That doesn't matter because either in smart mode or eco mode, those are essentially both of the defaults. There's no normal mode like the Kia. It doesn't respond. You have to put it into sport mode to get a normal size throttle response. As a modern hybrid, I don't really want to put up with this. But this is not to fault the Santa Fe itself because, like I said before, there's so many other powertrain choices available, and I've driven a Santa Fe, the top calligraphy trim, with that same 2.5 liter turbo that's in the Sorento, and that completely changed this car. I know it's good, so I'm not going to compare apples to oranges here, hybrid and the massive turbo engine that you see in the Sorento. That would not be fair for this video. That's just what I have right now. I just want to tell you guys that I don't like the hybrid tuning. When I'm comparing the same engines and powertrains, the Santa Fe is great. I do think it rides a little softer, it rolls a little bit more than that Kia Sorento. Mild differences, but you get more comfort in this car. That I do like. So I appreciate that Hyundai made this feel very isolated, it's plush, it's quiet at all times, regardless if you're in the hybrid or you're not. But could have added a little bit more insulation. I mean, weather insulation. It's a little drafty inside here. Actually, the corners of these two front doors, it's not the air vent, there's actually some cold air that seeps through on these seals. And I noticed that while driving today, 28-degree weather here in Massachusetts on the highway, it was noticeable. I even had to close the sunroof cover because the air was coming through there and making my forehead cold. These aren't things that normally happen in a lot of new cars, and yes, I know it's cold, it's never gonna be perfect in any vehicle, but that's something to consider if you're gonna choose one of these vehicles for your winter car. I haven't really experienced that in a lot of other new cars, so that is actually disappointing. If you get the top trims of the Santa Fe, you can get highway driving assist, and that combines all of the active safety features into a semi-automated system that will help steer it, do all the things that you're used to on a lot of higher end vehicles, and some lower end vehicles. This one works really well because all you have to do is just press 2 buttons. You don't have to go through this big sequence. Steering assist, cruise control, boom, you're done. And this digital dash is super nice, it's helpful. It really illustrates what's going on right in front of you all the time. I said before the Santa Fe is tuned for the comfort side of the equation as opposed to sport. I really would like some more steering feel in here to match how sporty this engine really is, because it produces a lot of torque. There's over 300 pound-feet. It moves. Now, it's not sporty like a Kia Stinger or like a Hyundai Veloster N. It's not like that, obviously. These things weigh a lot. But the steering and the suspension don't quite match the engine in terms of how it's tuned. That's all. Slight differences. But if you just kind of go at, say, a 6/10 pace, you're going to like the mid-range acceleration, especially when getting on the highway. I would recommend the upgrade. It is more money versus the standard 2.5 liter, but you got to pick what you really want to have. Do you want power? Do you want efficiency? I think with the turbo, you're not losing that much efficiency and you're gaining a whole lot more power. So the Santa Fe is kind of like the old locomotive it's named after. It just kind of rolls along. It's really comfortable on those long rides, but the Sorento is the thing that really kicks things up a notch. Is Emerald still around? Can you still talk about him? Bam! You know, that's kind of how this is. Bam, bam, bam. I like it. It's actually a far more livelier driving experience than the Santa Fe, even with that same 2.5 liter turbo. The suspension and steering just feel more dialed in. I like it. It's not the sportiest experience, but already, yeah, this is just such a better experience for me. I wouldn't say ordinarily that 2 and 3 row family SUVs could be fun to drive, but the Sorento with this turbo is. It's a worthwhile upgrade. I really do say that, because if you want to have a bigger, heavier vehicle like both of these vehicles are, you're gonna want the turbo. It's not about just going 0 to 60 in like 8 seconds versus 10. I don't really know what the numbers are for these vehicles. It's mid-range acceleration, it's getting out of your own way, it's merging onto traffic. So turbo engine is kind of required these days. You just got to move. And this one's tuned really well. I have not been a fan of many dual clutch transmissions in regular vehicles like this. Sports cars, yes, but I'll give you guys one example. A lot of the Mercedes SUVs like the GLA use a very similar setup. It's a turbo 4 with a 8-speed dual clutch, and they don't really respond that well. But this Kia and the one in the Hyundai, wow, they're great. Plus I have paddle shifters, and I got multiple driving modes here just like the Hyundai. I can go into a comfort mode, which actually I don't like. It actually makes it really lazy, kind of as lazy as the throttle in that Santa Fe hybrid. So Eco kind of is really the default mode, and it's not that slow at all, and Sport really does take off. What's also nice about both of these SUVs is that you can lock the all-wheel drive, so it's 50-50, especially on a day like today where there could be some ice on the road, some slush. You really want the all-wheel drive system to always be an all-wheel drive, as opposed to front-wheel drive and then detecting slip. That's what happens in these systems on these type of SUVs. They don't react quick enough. So by the time you're slipping, well, you can't really get back on the road as quickly. So a little button here right on the drive mode selector helps you stay that way in addition to a snow mode. So I like that. I like that you have that option. And I'm not really punished by the ride either. It is a little firmer, not much. And these are nice big 20-inch tires. They look great. I'm not really punished by it. And I don't have adaptive dampers, any of the fancy stuff you'll find in luxury SUVs. But finally, Kia has tuned the suspension to something agreeable. It took them a few decades to figure out how to do that, but they're here now. They really are. Handling, comfort. Well, this Sorento has both. And I just like that I can drive and have a good time in it and feel the road and feel more secure, because at the end of the day, that's what you want. We're not here to drive super fast and be in performance SUVs. You can watch our other videos for that, because there's vehicles for that. But for a regular family crossover, you're gonna like how this one drives. And I guarantee you'll probably like it better than the Hyundai. At the end of the day, I like how the Sorento drives. The Santa Fe drives really well too, but this one, definitely a few degrees higher in all directions, right? But I don't really like looking at this dash. And at the end of the day, I guess I'm a vain person. I want to have a better dash. I want to have nicer materials. The Santa Fe does that. It just feels more upscale. I'd be willing to give up some of the steering feel, some of the suspension tuning that makes this thing feel hunkered down, because the Santa Fe is still good. It's just not as good as the Sorento. Fuel economy is about the same for both cars, regardless of the powertrain. Now, the numbers you can see here, yes, there's some discrepancies depending on what trims you get. There's some slight electric range differences, even among the turbo and non-turbo engines, but more or less, they're the same. Prices. The 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe Limited Hybrid, $41,690. The 2022 Kia Sorento SX Prestige X-Line, $45,120. Their base prices are a lot lower. Now, these cars are not my favorites. Hyundai and Kia make a lot more compelling cars like the Sonata or the Telluride, but you get a lot of SUV for the money, including a 5-year, 60,000-mile warranty and a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on both cars. Picking an outright winner is really hard. Even with the Olympics going on right now, Korea is going to win on both sides, right? Hyundai, Kia, they're identical vehicles, and that makes them really good choices. So you have to ask yourself, what do you like on the outside? What do you like on the inside? How do you like your trimmings, right? Different vehicles, different seating configurations, similar prices. For me, it's the Santa Fe. I just appreciate that style a bit more, but you may go for the Sorento. Tell us, what do you think? And subscribe for more CarGurus comparison videos, because we're gonna be doing this in the winter, in the fall, in the spring, and the summer. We're here every week for you guys, so tell us what you wanna see next. Go to CarGurus.com, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I hope you will too.